Good morning, guys. So, out of all the great lectures that we had during our stay at Meiji University, the one that stuck out to the most was the lecture on Future and Present Japan as Cashless Society by Shuji Kobayakawa sensei. In particular, his take on and his opinion on biometric forms of payment. And so, the focal point of my presentation is how introducing biometric forms of payment will impact Japan. So, before we begin, to define biometric payment methods, it is basically a point of sale technology that uses biometric authentication to identify the user and authorize the deduction of funds from a bank account, whether that using fingerprints, facial recognition, as well as eye recognition. So, Japan has big biometric payment plans as a vision for essentially its tourists. As recently, the Japanese government has announced a new pilot program that will allow tourists visiting the country to pay for their transactions with their fingerprints. The program, which will initially be rolled out in 300 locations, will let tourists register their fingerprints, credit and debit card information, as well as personal details on kiosks set up in the airport. A similar system was reportedly put in place last year by the US-10 Bosch theme park in Sasebo, Nagasaki Prefecture, that allowed tourists to make payments using fingerprints at 30 stores and restaurants. So, Japan's goal and vision in introducing certain programs across the country would be to boost its foreign tourism to Japan, as these would be a counteract in the decreased labor force and birth rates of the younger generation and an increasing of the older generation. So, Japan's current system. Within the last recent months, there have been several pushes and a vision of introducing biometric forms of cashless payment into the norm in Japan. These include the collaboration between FPC and IDEMIOTech biometric payment card. In that, FPC says that the card uses a specific fingerprint sensor model, asserting in a statement its key feature of ultra-low power consumption and superior biometric performance. There is also AEON Bank, which is testing out Liquid's technology for cash withdrawal at certain ATMs. So account holders will be able to withdraw money using their fingerprints alone, eliminating the misplaced cash cards or forgotten PIN numbers. The pros and cons and how this will affect Japan. So one of the pros would be promoting foreign tourism in Japan. As the Japanese society ages and birth rates decrease, their cashless payments are being viewed as a possible counteract to the coming decrease of the labor force, with the goal of encouraging operational efficiency by reducing the need to handle cash. It also provides an increase of convenience. So following all the best practices in making passwords strong, but at the same time makes it more complex, as changing it frequently for security reasons can cause some inconvenience in terms of remembering and or creating new complex passwords every time. And also, a fingerprint and distinct feature of an individual is specific to that person only, in a sense would make it or increase their difficulty in stealing in that form. In terms of cons and how it will affect Japan, privacy is one of the biggest concerns of the biometric solution. If the servers storing biometric information is hacked, it could have extremely serious consequences for individuals. For some users and certain businesses, it also feels a bit invasive, as individuals who are uncomfortable with the idea see the practice of biometrics invasive itself. There is also the issue of physically challenged individuals, as for certain handicapped persons, the fingerprint option is of greater difficulty. The biggest impact would affect small and medium-sized enterprises who play a major role within the economy. With incorporating this change, there will be an expensive investment in equipment for biometric payments. So to conclude, the biggest reluctancy would be from small and medium-sized enterprises in Japan, as they do play a key role in the Japanese economy. Their issue would involve the expenses that are required to then pay for the equipment for this form of payment, as Japan itself and currently is a cash dependent society. In taking that extra step of saying that they want to have it in a biometric form would be the significant step for these businesses. So, thank you for listening. The end.